All right, we got some stuff cooking today, Albie.
Lot going on.
Stuff going on here. Let's jump right in because we got a lot of audio too. Let's jump right in. This is has been very much the talk of the day so far. This stunning bit of audio of the speech from Chuck Grassley.
Right, who's a person who's not... I mean, Chuck Grassley's not like a wingnut or something.
No.
Chuck Grassley's a serious person who's been in Washington a long time, probably too long if we're being honest about term limits and elderly people running Washington, D.C. But this is not a person who's going to come out here with some half-baked information.
Exactly. So this is him a couple of hours ago on the floor of the Senate.
That the foreign national who allegedly bribed Joe and Hunter Biden allegedly has audio recordings of his conversation with them. 17 such recordings. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between him and Hunter Biden. According to the 1023, the foreign national possesses 2 audio recordings of phone calls between him and then Vice President Joe Biden. These recordings were allegedly kept as a sort of insurance policy for the foreign national in case that he got into a tight spot. The 1023 also indicates that then Vice President Joe Biden may have been involved in bereavement employing Hunter Biden. Based on the facts known to the Congress and the public, it's clear that the Justice Department, the FBI, haven't nearly had the same laser focus on the Biden family. Special Counsel Jack Smith has used a recording against former President Trump. Well, what is U.S. Attorney Weiss doing with respect to these alleged Joe and Hunter Biden recordings that are apparently relevant to the high-stakes bribery scheme? Getting a full and complete 1023 is critical for the American people to know and understand the true nature of the document and to hold the Justice Department and the FBI accountable. It's also important for asserting constitutional congressional oversight powers against an out-of-control executive branch, obviously drunk with political infection. Remember, Congress has received 1023s in the past, and they've been made public. So asking for this 1023 to be turned over to the American people to read is not an unusual thing that goes on with 1023s.
So, I don't know. I'm just learning what a 1023...
So a 1023, this is an FBI-generated document. It's their interview with a, quote, highly credible source.
Okay.
So this is a confidential source that they talked to that told them there's this Ukrainian official who was involved in this bribery scheme and that he has these 7, or she, I suppose, but I think he has these 17 recordings of calls with Hunter Biden about this scheme. So basically, I mean, so to be clear, we don't have, and it's not clear that anybody at the FBI has or anybody's heard any of these recordings. Like that, the evidence that we have that they exist is that somebody told the FBI that they exist.
Right, okay, and...
a highly credible confidential source.
Exactly, and it's the whistleblowers told the Senate.
The whistleblower told the Senate about the FBI 1023 that the FBI has. So, and they were given a redacted document. So that's what we know so far. Basically, that this highly credible confidential source detailed multiple meetings and conversations that he or she had with this top Burisma executive over the course of several years, starting in 2015. The form was redacted, that's the FBI record of the interview. And it has a redacted reference that the Burisma executive possesses 15 audio recordings of phone calls between himself and Hunter Biden and 2 audio recordings of phone calls between himself and Joe Biden. So, and apparently what this shows, these phone calls, is that there was a bribery scheme, and that's the reason why Hunter Biden had this job, and that Joe Biden was personally involved in getting Hunter Biden this Burisma job.
So it's interesting. It's like I mean, we'll have to see, but between that and the news about the Chinese lab that's out, that the Chinese military is working with the Wuhan lab to create a deadly whatever, and now and then it escaped, and that's COVID. It's like the worst case scenarios that were once considered verboten to ever say publicly seem to be coming to fruition.
Right.
Right. So all the
Everything
crazies
everything that was a conspiracy theory is now true,
exactly,
as it turns out.
So now, because Donald Trump has been indicted and is going tomorrow to be arraigned.
Any word on if he's actually got a lawyer yet or not?
I don't know. I do not know
Because
that.
the last I heard that he was having trouble getting a local lawyer who's an expert in this type of stuff in that area, right? Because they have to be admitted to the Florida bar, and they have to be an expert in these type of documents cases, which is not all lawyers, and that he's having trouble, and he's been turned down by people already, and so they're having trouble now. I mean, they'll still have to go to court, but he might not be arraigned if he's not able to get appropriate legal
and
representation.
one of the reasons why it's hard for him to get appropriate legal representation, one of the reasons is
he has a little bit of a reputation.
Evidence 10 seconds ago, as Trump was live with Howie Carr.
In our country. And don't forget, I got more votes than any sitting president in history by a lot. I mean, we've got 10 million more votes than Obama. We got more votes than
I don't know why
any
it's so
sitting
bad.
president in history. We're popular. We had a great economy. We did a great job on
would that
every
be so
front,
bad?
including the biggest tax cuts and regulation cuts in history, everything. And then we come out and we have to go through this instead of a normal process. And as you know, because you've seen the polls, we're leading DeSanctimonious by a lot, and we're leading Biden by a lot. We're leading Biden by 10, 11 points. And, frankly, it's shocking. You think you'd lead him by 100 points, not by 10 points.
I'm gonna
10 points is actually considered to be a lot.
I want to read you something you wrote today on Truth Social. I will appoint a real special prosecutor to go after the most corrupt president in the history of the USA, Joe Biden, and the entire Biden crime family. And then on from there. But I mean, would you really appoint someone, or where does this all end?
Is there something down
Well,
there?
they've opened up the box. Look, Bill Barr is a weak coward, and he didn't want to do anything on this. And yet, in many ways, a lot of people. So
Why would it be? It
including
came
me,
out
I said,
clear.
I get it, because you don't want to go after sitting presidents and vice presidents and all of the things. So I sort of got it. Not necessarily a believer, but now they've opened up the Pandora's box. And now we're in a position where we can say, and look at the corruption in the Biden family, the millions and millions of dollars pouring in from China and other places. It's a disgrace.
He just goes to the Grassley thing, so I just want to get there.
You take a look at the money coming in from Ukraine. So much money, and nobody does anything about that. Well, we're gonna get to it, and now we can do it now, because now the box has been opened. It's the Pandora's box that has been opened, and it's been wide open. So I'm allowed to do that. People will say, "Now we get it."
Did you see what Senator Chuck Grassley said on the floor of the Senate today? He was talking about the FD 1023. He said that suppose the FBI has information that the Burisma executive who bribed Joe Biden $5 million, Hunter Biden $5 million, has 2 recordings with Joe Biden. Do you believe that?
Do
you believe that?
I do believe it. Yeah, I think they're crooked people. I think Joe Biden is a dishonest person. I think he's the most corrupt president in history. And he uses the Justice Department. It's sad, but they use the FBI and the Justice Department, which were.
Anyway, you get it. So anyway, I don't know why that audio was so horrible. I will never understand why that audio was so horrible.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, let me play something else.
What about the Americans who
What
really...
was the recording? That's so weird, because it sounded fine coming in. You have a hypothesis?
I don't know.
You don't know if you have a hypothesis?
I'm not sure.
You're not sure if you know if you have a hypothesis. Because you just said you thought something was feeding back.
I'm saying that I thought it was the recording, and it must have been weren't hearing it from there, but something about the way it was feeding into there must have recorded badly. I don't know.
Okay. I just thought you were onto something there. That's okay. And so should we go to the Wuhan stuff, or where do you want to go next? Do we want to talk about the Chinese spy place in Cuba? I have audio for. You know what? Let's just do it for a second. Let's
Okay.
go through this stuff. So this is the.
Go where you want to go.
This is. Do what you want to do. Do you know who sings that? You gotta go where you want to go.
No.
Do what you want to. You don't know the song?
Mm-mm.
It's Mamas and Papas. So this is my Kirby. So the Wall Street Journal reported that the Chinese have a spy base in Cuba.
Okay.
Kirby was asked about that this weekend.
China and Cuba have now reached a secret agreement, we are told, for China to establish an electronic facility on the island, which would allow Chinese intelligence services to scoop up electronic communications throughout the southeastern U.S. What is your reaction to this?
Look, I've seen that press report. It's not accurate. What I can tell you is that we have been concerned since day one of this administration about China's influence activities around the world, certainly in this hemisphere and in this region. We're watching this very, very closely, and we have and will continue to take steps to mitigate any potential threat that those activities might pose so that we can make sure, and we're positive, that we can continue to defend this nation.
You're saying it's not accurate that they're planning this?
I'm saying we've seen the report. It's not accurate. We're focused on making sure that we can mitigate any threats from China in the region.
So that was a few days ago,
Mm-hmm.
and that has changed. Now, that has changed. That is now more inoperative than not inoperative. Hold on, I'm just trying to find the thread here. Where is it? Sorry about that.
Yes.
Hold on, give me a
Okay,
second. I'm just
okay.
trying to find a thread. They've changed. Twitter has changed the way you see threads, I think.
Have they?
Okay, so here's today. No, this isn't today. Let me find today. He's changed. I can't find the video. So, you can talk while I'm
Okay. No. Well, I started to say something a minute ago, and you said wait because you were doing something, but I don't know anything about this particular topic.
Okay,
so
here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
Fill, I'll
So no.
switch
So here
gears.
you go. So this
Okay.
is today, on the Chinese spy base, that he said that the reporting was not accurate previously. You know, and in those what you just heard, twice he said that it was not, and he was very clear, it was straight up.
Right.
Today it's different.
And can you just explain why you didn't confirm all of this when it was first reported last week? You said it was inaccurate, but what was inaccurate seemed to basically be the tense that they, weren't going to establish but had already established this facility. Why wait till Saturday to put this out there?
I'm actually really glad you asked that question. I can tell you that
He's really glad, by the way. He's really glad that she asked that question. He's looking at his Trapper Keeper, at the podium right now.
that we were as forthcoming as we should have been at the time the first stories appeared.
That's a great way to put it. As forthcoming as we should have been. In
Should
other
have
words,
been.
yes.
Not as we could have been.
Right. So
But-
he needed to lie.
It was important that I lie to you.
Yes, which is forthcoming that we should have been, which was not forthcoming at all, as a matter of fact. As a matter of fact, we tried to put you off the scent.
There is the sensitive nature of this information is such that we just simply couldn't go into more detail, even before the first story appeared, to try to better inform that reporting. That's how sensitive this stuff is. We just couldn't be more detailed. And then after the first stories appeared, we worked very, very hard, as expeditiously as we could, with the intelligence community to try to get some context downgraded so that we could provide it over the weekend, and we did that. But we were as forthcoming as we should have been, given the nature of this information.
It's a remarkable thing to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Basically, we lied to you.
Yes.
I'm very glad you asked the question. I didn't tell you because I needed to lie to you. It's very important. So, I mean, but what I want to know is, where are the journalists pushing back on this and saying, what do you mean as forthcoming as you should have been? Are you saying you lied? Where's that conversation happening? Like, do the journalists not care? Never did a Trump administration official ever, by the way, say anything so blatantly, yeah, we lie to you, to the press from that podium, ever. Did they? Did the Trump administration ever so blatantly tell the press, like,
no, they
that
made,
they just lie to them
Spicer
because
on
they
the day
can?
of the inauguration promise they'd be truthful. Jonathan Karl said, you have to make sure you don't lie to us because you lied about crowd size. This is one of the follow-ups.
The fact that we came out a couple of days later and provided some clarifying information does not mean and should not be taken, as I've seen in some of the press reporting, as some kind of walk back. The original reporting, as we said, was inaccurate. And we did the best we could in the moment to be as forthcoming as we could. Unfortunately, it wasn't going to prevent some inaccurate reporting. After the first reports, we worked to get some additional context downgraded, but even that had to be carefully scrutinized.
After a few days, the original reporting became accurate.
Right.
Right.
It's shameful that somebody or some bodies somehow think it's okay to put this kind of information in the public bloodstream. Now, you're just fact.
Wow. Doth protesting a little too much, I think.
It's shameful that you guys reported the truth before we were ready to tell it to you. Imagine.
It's wonderful.
Can we switch gears a
Yes,
little
please.
bit?
Please.
Because apparently there was this thing that I've never heard of, and I was happy to have never heard of it, called the Turning Point USA Young Women's Leadership Summit in Texas.
Okay, yes.
Some kind of conference. I just sent you my favorite clip from it. But basically, this is like another cringy TPUSA, like, young conservatives event, but it's focused towards, like, girl bosses.
Yep.
So it's all, like, Nikki Haley high heel and lipstick line.
I like this Alex Clark,
all the
though.
time.
I'm sorry about that.
So Alex Clark here kicks things off.
Oh my gosh. Young Women's Leadership Summit, are you ready to see this degenerate, rotten culture that we've been living in get a makeover? Well, you are in the right place. I see so many incredible 70s inspired outfits right now. I see sequins and stars.
This is 70s theme,
and
apparently.
big floral prints. You guys nailed it. Every year you take this theme and you run with it. I love to see it.
To combination sorority party and cringy political conference. So everything like that. And they had, like, big decals on the walls that say things like, let's go, girls. And
well, but, you know, I mean, any like girl power thing is always cringy, is it not?
I know, they're all terrible. But why are conservatives doing it?
Well, I thought that, like, the themes that they were talking about, I saw one article where the themes were to make your values family rather than career.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk yelled at a girl, not yelled at, but she wants to be a surgeon, and she told him she wouldn't have time to start a family until she was 30, and he lectured her about it. So, I mean, I guess that's good, but, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. What are we all doing here? Like,
All I know is, Alice, that you and we are never going to miss the Tony Awards again. My new favorite actor, the director of Parade, which I've seen several times in Broadway.
Okay.
I've taken the Fung Hua down there to see it. It's a great performance. Listen to this. Once again, the most entitled people in the world. Why don't you just get a shrink? I mean, this just proves this is what it's about. Love me, love me, love me. I'm incredibly special. Love me for the specialness.
Thank you.
This guy is named Michael Arden.
This belongs to the battalion of people who made Parade and who bring it to life so beautifully and terrifyingly every night. You were amazing this morning. You're amazing every day. Thank you. Parade tells the story of a life that was cut short at the hands of the belief that one group of people is more or less valuable than another.
The sanctimonious. That's what he's saying. Essentially, this is It's pivoted already. He's only 32 seconds in, and it's pivoted to what he's wanting to say, condemning half of America, condemning anybody who doesn't think exactly like him. Here we go.
And that they might be more deserving of justice. This is a belief that is the core of anti-Semitism, of white supremacy, of homophobia, of transphobia, and intolerance of any kind. We must come together. We must battle this. It is so, so important, or else we are doomed to repeat the horrors of our history.
Just do your stupid play, dickhead, and take your trophy and walk
I mean, I guess
away.
on the plus side for them, this is the most I've heard of any Tony Awards presentation in my entire life.
Right.
So this is...
And to our beautiful trans, non-binary, queer youth, know that your queerness is what makes you beautiful and powerful. Everyone in this room sees you and needs you, and we will fight alongside you, and we will win. Growing up, I was called the F word more times than I can remember, and
all I'm going to say is that on this stage, this F word won a Tony. He says the F-A, the whole word.
So, keep raising your voices, my friends, my friend. Thank you. So keep raising
Can you
your
get off
voices,
the stage now?
standing up against intolerance of any kind, anywhere you see it. Keep loving and uplifting each other, standing up for each other, continue making challenging art, and vote every chance you get.
Is that to queer children, queer youth? Because I don't think they're eligible yet.
Yeah, not yet.
And Alfred and Jason and all the people who made Parade, and to my family of friends and colleagues who have supported me, and I love you. You are the best of me, and to Andy and Jay, I love you. Thank you.
But mostly you were mentioned last. I got to the important stuff first. Because it's so... He finally broke through the glass ceiling that is musical theater and gay men. You know?
They've been kept out of that field, I've noticed.
Finally, he kicked it down. It's this exercise, and it's the most deepest vanity play, self-introspection, navel-gazing thing. I'm very important.
And it's incredibly not brave at all, because it would be brave if somebody went out there and said something that people in that room didn't want to hear. But they only ever say things that will gain them tons of accolades and press time. And we had never heard of this guy, so that's why. And Hamilton actress Danae Benton.
Yeah, we have that, right?
You have that. It's a Blaze. I didn't pull the video.
I thought
directly.
I pulled the video. I thought I did. Hold on, let me find it, because I like her too.
Yeah, because
How do you
she
spell
also
Danae?
D like Renee, but with a D. Denee.
Danae Benton. Okay, hang on.
Yeah, she's from Florida, and she had political comments as well. I think you can probably guess where she's going with this.
Hi, I'm Danae Benton, actor, thank you, and proud CMU alum. Earlier tonight, CMU and the Tony Awards presented the 2023 Excellence in Theater Education Award. And while I am certain that the current governor of my home state of Florida will be changing. changing the name of this following town immediately. We were honored to present this award to the truly incredible and life-changing Jason Zembick Young, enhancing the lives of students at South Plantation High School in Plantation, Florida.
Surprised that's allowed to be called that anymore, even.
Well, she made a joke about that with death sentence as well. So once again, it's like, because if you believe that you shouldn't be teaching queer sex as part of curriculum,
like in elementary schools,
for CRT or whatever, then that makes you a Klansman, because that's what the Klansmen also were trying to do.
Right? Yeah, that's true. I mean, in fairness, I think probably most Klansmen wouldn't want their kids taught about gay sex, but I don't think the people they were terrorizing wanted their kids taught about gay sex either.
Correct.
So, yeah, but I think this shtick is starting to get a little old to a lot of people. Did you see the numbers from the latest Gallup poll about trans women in sports?
Yeah.
Unfortunately for leftists, the numbers have moved in completely the wrong direction. Gallup did a new poll on questions they've asked before in the past about birth gender in sports, asking people if they thought that transgender athletes should be able to compete in sports teams that conform with their birth gender. So, and the numbers went up from May of 2021. 62% of Americans thought that people should only play on teams conforming to their birth gender. And in May of 2023, 69% think that people should only play on teams conforming to their birth gender. And the number of people who thought the opposite went down by 8 points. So net, it's a 15-point move. 15% of people changed their minds on that issue, which is crazy. In 2 years, that's post-COVID. And if you think about what's happened since then, I mean, in terms of like the debate around the trans issues and calling everybody bigots and Nazis, you would think, I think the left was really expecting that this issue would move in the same way that gay marriage moved, right? Where it really, in a stunningly short amount of time, went from a fringe position to the only mainstream position you could possibly have. So the fact that the last few years of rhetoric around trans people has in fact moved the numbers in the wrong direction should be worrisome. If I were a leftist gay activist, I would be concerned about this. And not only that, what I would find even more concerning if I were a trans activist or whatever is that the numbers moved even for people who personally know a transgender person.
Right.
So let's go. Sorry, the graph is highlighting at me. So for people who actually know a transgender person, they lost 10 points of people thinking they should play on the sports team that they want to play on, and gained 11%. So it's a 21% move altogether. And in the opposite direction, it was the people who hold the trans activist position went down by 8%, and the other went up by 6%. So it's a 14-point move. So it's actually, if you know a transgender person, you were more likely to change your mind and say that trans women shouldn't be able to be on women's sports teams.
How interesting.
So more familiarity with the issues, more education on trans issues, knowing more trans people, more people coming out as trans has actually moved the needle in the wrong direction for trans activists.
Right.
Which is bad because it indicates that their educational efforts here are making things worse for them. So it's really interesting.
And I think people are just seeing it. People are seeing, I actually think even with the Dylan Mulvaney thing and Bud Light, people who usually aren't drawn to the news, and Target are drawn to the news and saying, hey, wait a second.
Right.
Go ahead.
And Democrats as well have moved. Now, Democrats, Republicans, and independents all more of them believe that people should play on teams of their birth sex,
Yep.
not of their gender identity. Even Democrats. So more people believe that trans people should stick with their birth team.
And this is anecdotal, but just going through the main wire. Board member of LGBTQ plus nonprofit resigns after complaining about racism, minors crossing sexual boundaries. Maine's Transgender Network Inc. steering committee member resigned from a voluntary position in May after writing a blistering critique of the Portland-based LGBT advocacy group. An email, Samson Spatafori alleged that the group has engaged in racism, transphobia, and has hosted youth programming in which minors have engaged in sexually inappropriate behavior. I've witnessed sexual boundaries being crossed within our youth program and no adult stepping in to address it, Spatafori said. No matter how often we've talked about these issues or addressed them in meetings, nothing has changed. I fear that these issues have become worse. No adult, Spatafori was a volunteer in the organization's steering committee, a model, poet, and volunteer. He describes himself as a white, neurodivergent, queer, gay, non-binary trans man currently living in unceded Wabanaki tribal land. So he's got all of the bona fides. It says, I use the word devastatingly because I personally care deeply about the youth in our programs, but I've already said these kids and their emotional safety means a lot to me, and I hate to hear that anyone involved in the youth program did not feel that they were respected by another youth. So there you go. So Spatafori is out. So maybe it is happening. I mean, but this is not really ideological. I mean, is it for many people? Many people are just playing make-believe.
Right. And I think that becomes increasingly clear. And I think that, I mean, the sports is like kind of an easy wedge issue. I think it was a really big mistake for them to push on the sports issue in particular, because it is so obvious that it's so unjust and so harmful to women and girls. But a lot of the language that they use and the rhetoric that they use is also hugely insulting to women and girls, right? And like a lot of the gains that the Democratic Party has made have been among middle-class women, particularly college-educated women, and, you know, a lot of whom went to college on Title IX scholarships and stuff, right? So, like, it's very damaging, I think, to their reputation as, like, the smart, reasonable party that the nice suburban women can get behind, that they're this insulting to women. There was this thing that was going around that was a piece of Gender and Sexuality Resources, a diversity and inclusion guide that was from Johns Hopkins University. And in their LGBTQ glossary, they defined lesbian like this. Lesbian, sexual orientation, a non-man attracted to non-men. While past definitions refer to lesbian as a woman who is emotionally, romantically, and or sexually attracted to other women, this updated definition includes non-binary people who may also identify with the label. Whereas a gay man is defined as a man who is emotionally, romantically, sexually, affectionately, or relationally attracted to other men or who identifies as a member of the gay community.
Wow.
So men get to still be men.
Right.
The gay men are still defined as men who are attracted to other men, but lesbians are just defined as non-men attracted to non-men. Women don't get a word anymore. They don't get to be a thing. Just these little non-men. Just, you know, like, obviously you fell short in the manliness department, and if you like other lame non-men, but it goes right with, like, the chest feeding and the uterus havers and the monthly menstruators and whatever else they call women. It's also gross, and they never do this with men. You never hear about, like, testicle havers or prostate havers or whatever. Like, it's only degrading to women, this stuff that they do, which speaks a lot to their motivations.
The only the only acceptable losses are the women. Did we play Kids Can Be Kink and Coexist at Pride? Did we play that yesterday?
No, we didn't.
So this is like yesterday. This was trending on Twitter. This is a TikTok from another. I don't know what this person is, but another one of these people. And like, how many times you see this? Talk about the poll numbers, because they're saying the things now.
I want to clarify this for a second here. I'm not saying that kink isn't kid friendly. I'm saying that kids and kink can coexist at Pride in a totally fine way.
Well, okay. She goes on like that, or he, whatever. It goes on like that for 55 seconds. there's not even a sense that that person thinks they're saying something risque or fairly borderline criminal.
It should be obvious to most people that kids and sex don't mix, but I don't know why to people on the... I mean, I know why, but I have theories. I don't know why it seems so confusing for them why people don't want sex around their kids.
Well, right. And like this idea that like the concept of kink is just as important as the concept of kids.
Kink, kids, they all belong together.
Kiddos. You can have kink with a kiddo, right?
Yeah.
All right, Alice, what is the hot sauce?
That is the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hot Sauce. They, of course, bring us the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline where you can leave chat messages for the chat.
Hey, does somebody mind offering you, if anybody has a job that pays like $100,000 to $150,000, if you have that job available, can you offer it to Alice Shattuck? I feel so bad for you. Alice's job is requires 10 times more concentration than any air traffic controller's job during a storm when the plane is 3 engines down. It's just remarkable. So I hate your job.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm not. I feel sorry for you. Okay, let's go.
Hello, it's the transitioning drag queen in Canton, apparently. So I hear tell that my man card has been revoked because I wear slides. Well, a couple things to that point. One, I'll have you know, I used to run sometimes more than 4 miles 3 times a week, completely barefoot.
Oh, you're
on pavement.
Tim. One of those guys.
Did you have the shoes that look like little toes?
Did you and I ever go together to the Cambridge 5K where I kept running into the barefoot 5K guy?
No.
And he'd just walk around barefoot so the people would talk about his running barefoot. And, no, I calloused over nicely. It's like these guys who cross-country ski to work when it snows here and for winters, just begging you to ask them about it. Oh, what? Oh, these skis? Oh, nothing. It's just cross-country ski to work. That also used to happen in Cambridge when I worked there.
How do you feel, Tom, about the shoes that look like little feet?
I think that anybody who wears those should be executed.
Ran it on.
But the thing is that Tim does not have these personality traits of all these awful people. He's an anomaly.
I think we know people around town who like skateboard and stuff. And
right.
They're very nice people too. I like them.
Yes.
Even though you want to have a problem with it, you can't really because they're great people. I don't think I can really have a problem with Tim and Canton either. Trish says in the chat that she thought Tim and Canton was going to say he ran in the slides. I thought he was going to say that too, actually. That's where I thought he was going with that.
Yeah, I sort of.
But I actually like Adidas slides, the black and white ones. They remind me of like lifeguarding back in the day.
Oh,
I had pink and black ones.
Stop it. Just because you were dating men who wore them doesn't mean necessarily that they're a good thing. No denial there. Wow.
Grass, ran it on gravel paths, which were great. And one of the reasons I did it was great for my feet, until I broke a metatarsal bone and then I couldn't do it anymore. Oh. And secondly, because the stone and rough surface would just chew up the bottom of my feet and just eat away at all that dead skin, the layers and layers. Oh,
you sick bastard. So he's got a foot, you know what it is? He's got a foot kink. That's what it is.
It's fantastic. So. I might have to go back to that. Secondly, Shattuck.
Yes.
Now, you're criticizing me and Steve about wearing slides and Danny, and now we get to the bottom of it. You wore freaking Toms? Why didn't you just get a couple of empty Kleenex boxes and walk around with those on your feet? What the hell's the matter with you?
Who was the inspiration for the Toms?
You picked them out at Nordstrom.
That's right, but I must have been...
you tried a bunch of shoes at Nordstrom. You wanted something comfortable you could slip on and off and wherever.
You know who used to give me nonstop crap about my Toms for them being very effeminate? Is Doug
Gowdy?
No.
Palmieri?
No, the other Doug. Channel 5 anchor.
Meehan?
Doug Meehan, who's a great guy. One of the best guys in the business. Man, he never let me forget that I was wearing these Toms. Doug Meehan's a great guy. If anybody can meet Doug Meehan, I suggest you do. He is one of the best and nicest guys in the business.
The other thing is, I think I know the reasons why you won't wear slides. One, boo-hoo, some girl told you you didn't have nice feet. Well, guess what? Guys don't have nice feet.
Correct.
They smell and they're dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And thirdly,
my not big toe, but the toe next to that looks like E.T.'s fingers. It does.
You do have monkey toes, kind of.
It's longer than all the other toes. It's a middle finger on my feet. It's ridiculously, it's hideous.
I know that you can't fit those eagle talons you call toes. They probably have like claws. The toenails are probably like claws at this point. You just can't get them in a slide, so you just stick them in that quasi-styrofoam that Crocs are made out of and just call it a day.
It is
some truth to that.
Let that show. There is some truth to that because my little toe doesn't actually touch the ground. It's way up in the air on both sides. So yeah, my feet are deformed. They're hideous.
Yeah, they poke a hole in all your sneakers.
They do.
Your little toe does.
Yeah, it's a weird ailment to have.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
I saw that Instagram post of you at the Candlepin Bowling Alley.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's right.
Man, you have the athleticism of a dead rhino. I've never seen anybody be that stiff trying to roll a bowling ball.
Incorrect.
Down a lane.
I won both games. Did I not, Alice?
Sally, your daughter won both games, actually.
One of the most renowned cheaters in the history of this sport.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, maybe you should take up pickleball. I hear that's pretty easy.
Okay. Incorrect. I'm not happy. First of all, I think I was in lane 8, and I think something was wrong with the lane. That's one. I think it was on a tiny angle. I actually got down there.
Other people managed
I got
to
down
knock
to Jack
more
Nicklaus,
than one
and I
pin
could
at
see,
a time over.
Yeah, but I was doing I go for my 10-7, 7-10 split.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some irregularities at play there.
We also had the lane bumpers on, let the record show.
What does that mean?
It means you can't throw gutter balls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like a little cage over the gutter, so that that's why the ball, do you think they normally bounce off the edge of the gutter and go back toward the middle?
Alice, like Tim and Kent and I also take umbrage at your wiffle ball slander.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Should be America's favorite pastime. It certainly is a sport.
It's not a sport.
Yes.
I mean, baseball is
a game.
sport. It's
not
basically baseball, just with different equipment.
No, you know what's
equipment,
not
quote
not
unquote.
A sport. You sat in the lifeguard chair, having older men slather you with
That's not true.
With sunscreen. Yes, that is correct. That is absolutely true.
No, wiffle ball is a fun game, but it's like badminton. It's not a sport.
Badminton is not a sport?
No.
Nobody's ever pronounced badminton phonetically.
It's spelled like that.
I mean, yes, you can play it at a backyard barbecue, but that usually kind of stinks because you got to be nice to like the little cousins and stuff, and they can't strike out. You have to throw it underhand and pretend like you don't care if they win. That stinks. You got to play. You got to play for real. I was in a league.
There you go.
I was actually MVP of a league down in Washington D.C. a couple of years ago. I got a pretty sick curveball myself.
Yeah.
And of course, there's the riser. Yeah, there definitely needs to be a burn barrel wiffle ball tournament as part of the burn barrel barbecue. I'll strike out Tom and Tim and Ken in like 6 pitches. Be sick. Can't wait. How dare you, Alice?
Correct. Well, this is entitled Yacht Bunny. And she wants, what do you consider? No, you know what she considers a sport? Polo. Because there's some polo grounds near here, as a matter of fact. That's what's a real sport. That's a yacht
I like
bunny.
that he says the equipment's a little different. Yeah, I noticed that.
This is Alice.
Where do you go to buy your official
Danny,
wiffle ball catcher's mitt?
This is what Alice does.
Do
And
they
she's been
have
doing
the
it to me
league
for years.
official? I mean, like...
She emasculates men. This is what she's trying to do, is emasculate you. And so that you'll be sexually impotent. She's been doing this to me forever.
Is it working?
At least 5 times it has not been successful.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, hold on 1 second, Paul. Let's go to Tim first.
Forgot to mention, I don't prance anywhere. I've been known to sashay, maybe even skip a little, but I don't prance.
I don't know. Alice?
I'm not the one who said he
You
prances.
said
It was a caller who said he prances.
Well, I mean, you said that wiffle ball is not a sport. So are you suggesting that he prances around the bases?
I didn't say anything about prancing.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Paul.
Alice, Paul from Florida.
Hi,
How
Paul.
are you?
Good.
Been away for a couple of weeks, so I'm just catching up, like Steve, times 5. Couple things. I am a no bueno on sandals while grilling.
Good. Okay.
I had one of those specialty spatulas with the little knife thing on the end that my wife bought me for Father's Day.
Yep.
Fall off the grill and eliminate part of my pinky toe once. So no bueno on the sandals while grilling. However, I will wear former boat shoes, an old pair of boat shoes that I have grilling. Just gives me the good flexibility, keeps my feet protected from flying grease, and spatula.
Okay,
Second,
now hold
Tom,
on, Paul.
regarding
I
your
need to
feet
go.
and
I need to go
sandals, there
back
is this-
here. Hold on, Paul, because I just got.
I agree. As a former food service professional myself,
no bueno.
open-toed shoes while handling cutlery are
I'm
not
just
a good
saying
idea.
that people who wear open-toed shoes happen to be good at the grill. I've just noticed this.
On sandals while grilling. I had one of those specialty spatulas with the little knife thing on the end.
Yeah.
That my wife bought me for Father's Day. Fall off the grill and eliminate part of my pinky toe.
Damn, man.
So, no bueno on the sandals while
Hazardous.
grilling. However, I will wear former boat
beverages may have been a factor in the spatula accident.
shoes, an old pair of boat shoes that I have grilling. Just gives me the good flexibility, keeps my feet protected from flying grease, and spatula.
I am wearing essentially boat shoes now, something like those now, close
Yeah,
to it
kind of.
anyway. But
I'm
it's
a
funny.
fan of the Sperry top
It's funny
slider.
that Tim talked about jogging. I used to be 20 years ago. I was big into jogging, so much that I got in pretty good jogging shape, and I would have special. It was just I had gotten into it. And one day I was just started at Entercom, and one day I wanted to go. I needed to go to my then girlfriend's house or something, and I jogged there in my boat shoes, and it screwed my knees up and knocked me out of jogging. It was a bad thing. I hope to get back into jogging.
Second, Tom,
Yes.
regarding your feet and sandals, there is this place, I don't know, you might have heard of it, called a nail salon.
Yeah.
And they do pedicures. Now, wait, before you get all...
No, I'm not going to wait, Paul. Men should never get pedicures, ever.
Some people swear by them.
That's no. Yeah, some people swear by them, and those people are celebrating
My
this
sister
this
has
month
made her boyfriend
especially.
get them before.
Mike?
Mm-hmm.
Mike, say it's not so. Mike.
Pretty
no.
sure I recall that.
No, he will. He will be.
I believe I've seen photographic
she will
evidence
make
of him
him,
in a pedicure chair, I think.
Fully trans with bottom surgery by the end of this year, if that's true. If that's true.
Believe that's true.
You cannot do this. This is not something.
There's this place, I don't know, you might have heard of it, called a nail salon, and they do pedicures. Now, wait, before you get all squeezy on the pedicure, women touching your feet thing, it's incredible, Tom. It's amazing.
No, it's not.
It's the
I've
closest
offered
thing
to help
cheating
Tom
on
with
your
his
wife
feet.
without cheating on your wife and getting in trouble.
Wait, let me rewind on that for a second.
He wants other women to touch
Amazing.
his feet.
It's the
what he's
closest
saying.
thing to cheating
Oh.
on your wife without cheating on your wife.
No, I think a massage would be right.
Yeah, probably. I was
Amazing.
actually going to say
Plus,
that.
Tom,
I used to have a
you
crush on
want
my
an
massage therapist.
overabundance of MILFs? That's where you'll find them. At the nail salon.
Well,
That's what
that's fine. I'll go in there and read a magazine or buy a product or whatever they have. But yeah, I'm not going to show them my feet and have some woman touch my feet. Jesus.
I heard. I haven't experienced that myself. And finally, congratulations on your new boy.
Thank
4
you.
boys and a girl.
Good.
Pretty good, Tom. I have 5 boys and a girl.
Nice.
And the girl is more work than all 5 put together. So count your blessings if you have another boy.
Interesting.
Take care. Hope you guys have a great day and a great week.
I'd like to know how that has worked
Not
out.
at the young age, but I
Right.
hear people tell me this all the time. And actually, if you listen to the Dawn Stensland show after I got off the air when I was on WPHT in Philly with
Yep.
her, last week she commented afterwards that I had no idea what was coming because in a year or so, when our daughter's a teenager, she's going to turn a corner and become a terrible evil monster.
Ugh, I
So-
hope not. At least not to me, hopefully. I'm
Mhm.
trying to buy her off right now.
Apologies for clogging up the Chelsea Clinton via hot sauce line. But this reminds me of when Alice used to call it TKK throughout the day on all the different shows. I just like to do the same.
Did you remember that?
Did Tim remember that, or does he remember me saying that?
Oh,
I used to call all the different shows. That's true.
You. Wait a second. Not just me?
No.
How many of the people who work
I
there?
called Jim and Marjorie. I don't think I ever got on
Who else
Jay
did you
Severan's
date that
show.
worked
I don't
there?
have hours to sit on hold. I didn't date anybody who worked at TKK except you.
Shout out, Alice. So, Shattuck.
Yes.
As far as the birds in the background, no, I don't have birds as pets. I just opened the
Kind of works with the slides.
windows. Hello? Like Alice has said, it's out of doors. It's called nature.
We do have
I mean,
that
don't
here.
you live on almost a farm up where you are? I'm basically almost in the city of Boston. I'm just on the outskirts. And yes, we have trees. And yes, birds.
It sounded like you had the bird mic'd up, Tim. It was like robust. We have birds here. Yes, I actually saw an awesome owl.
I saw a hummingbird the other day, which
I
was
like
great.
those
I
too.
thought might be my first one.
These owls are big, kick-ass things, though.
To hang out in trees. Lastly, I can't wait to play in this wiffle ball tournament. It's going to be fantastic. And I'll just have you know, I'm with you on the hanging curve. I could throw a curve behind your back and still hit the chair. I can also throw a ball. I think I can still do it, where it rises from just off the grass and will hit underneath the chair. And by the way, if we're not using a folding chair from like 40 years ago, then I'm not playing.
First of all, what's happening
that
with
ain't wiffle ball.
What's happening with the chair?
Yeah, you play wiffle ball differently than I do.
Yeah, I've never heard. I've been the victim to one of these rising balls before by a very good pitcher, but I didn't know anything about a chair. What are you sitting down and hitting? What's going on? I need to know more about this. Allison, I think we have to push forward with this wiffle ball situation as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just how
Sounds like you and Danny and Bellerica and Tim and Cannon are all going to be team captains of your own teams and have to draft people and stuff.
You will be playing.
Thank you so much for listening, everybody. If you too would like to captain a wiffle ball team, then you have to call into the Chelsea Fire Wicked Hotline chat. That's the rule. I'm sorry. You can do that at burnbarrelpodcast.com. That's where you can also find links to different places to listen. There's video versions of the show on YouTube and Rumble. If you want to be in the live chat, then you can do that at patreon.com/burnbarrel.